Welcome to episode 1 of Retro Game Club. Today, we're taking a look at Super Mario Bros. 2. I'm here with John, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our playthrough of the game, how we felt, challenges, music, whatever comes up. We're just going to talk about the game. Let's get started. So John, how did you feel during your playthrough of Super Mario Bros. 2? Tell me about it.
Well, we got to go back to the beginning. The reality is, you and I both played this game growing up.
That's true.
Where did you play it?
So, I did have it on the original NES.
Okay.
That my dad gave me.
Okay.
So, I don't know how far I made it. Eventually, I got it on the Game Boy Advance, because that's the era I grew up in. That's the one I played the most of. And when I started playing this one for the Retro Game Club, I started with the NES version, and I died. I had a game over right away. And I was upset because...
Skill issue?
It was a skill issue, yeah. I died pretty quickly off the start. So, when I went to restart it, didn't it start me at the start of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it started at the start of the game.
Goes back,
so I was like, alright, I don't have time to play this literally 30-minute game. I'm going to play the GBA version. I'm more familiar with it. And there's a lot of quality of life changes. So, when you die in the GBA version...
Right, it saves your progress.
Saves your progress, but you can switch your characters.
True, although I never really contemplated not being able to do that before.
Yeah, before in the NES version you're locked in.
Okay.
In the NES version you're locked in. GBA, you can switch characters.
I guess I just didn't die as much as you.
Yeah. Is this a Luigi level or a Peach level? You can switch if you die, right?
Okay, fair enough.
And you can save. Portability, it's on the go. I played on RetroArch. You did too, right?
Yes, of course, yeah.
But yeah, I was more familiar with it. My initial playthrough, I used the warps. Because remember, I finished it in one sitting.
Yeah, you flew through it. You only probably actually played, a quarter of the levels?
Probably five levels-ish.
Yeah.
I got to the end, beat Wart, and then after that, I said, I need to do the game justice. I'm going to go back through it and play the levels I skipped.
Yeah, I played every level more thoroughly than you did. I collected as many of the coins as I could and stuff as I went. A little bit different from your experience. So I grew up with the Super Nintendo. I did have Super Mario All-Stars.
Oh, yes, yes.
Problem, of course, is I also had Super Mario World, and Mario All-Stars has Super Mario Bros. 3. So Mario Bros. 2 was up against Titans. Like, I played the game a little bit, but nowhere near as the other two. I thought it was okay. Not having an overworld like the other two kind of turned me off a bit. I didn't like the mechanics. Everybody felt floaty, especially Luigi.
Peach too.
Yeah, just not being able to jump on enemies to kill them. Like, I just didn't understand some of the mechanics of the game. I didn't think it was bad back then. I think I did beat it as a child a couple times. Yep. But I haven't gone back to it nearly as much in recent years as most mainline Mario games.
Okay, fair. What do you think about the difficulty? Let's compare it to... From Mario Bros. 1 on the NES.
Right.
Lost Levels, Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island. What's the difficulty of Super Mario Bros. 2?
I would say it's right around the average, although maybe slightly harder than average. It's certainly harder than Super Mario World.
Okay.
And I would say it's about on par with Super Mario Bros. 3.
Really?
Yeah.
You put out Super Mario Bros. 3?
The problem... Yeah, the problem is the back half. Those last few levels are really, really enemy spammy, and a couple of them are quite long.
The last level.
Yeah, and also in Super Mario Bros. 3, you have the items and stuff on the overworld that you can lock in. Like, if you're having trouble with the world, you can just start with a Tanuki suit or whatever.
Yeah.
Or just use a P-Wing to fly over the whole thing. Where this doesn't have that. You know, even if you are a good flyer with just with a leaf in Mario Bros. 3, you can, skip large chunks, but you're not doing that in Mario Bros. 2.
You're kind of locked in,
so,
especially if you don't know the levels.
Skips, and I didn't. Like, I didn't know where the warps were, because I was playing this kind of. Yes, I had played it before, but I was playing it kind of blind, and so yeah, I died more than I'd like to admit. Also, especially mostly in that back half, and again, I was trying to collect every single thing, so I was going through levels multiple times. So yeah, I thought it was challenging.
I actually think it's one of the easier ones, personally.
Okay.
But I grew up playing the Game Boy Advance one, so
a lot more experience.
There's a lot of bias created by, like, literally muscle memory of just playing the game, right? So I always struggle. I thought Super Mario Bros. 3 was hard.
Yeah.
And I remember Super Mario Bros. 1, the last few levels.
Yeah, notoriously, just because the lives there's no easy way to farm lives.
Yeah.
Right? And that's another case of game over and you're back to the beginning.
Yeah, so it did it was, yeah, I'd say it's a bit easier for me personally. I think you can learn the game well enough that you get good enough at the game playing it that by the time you're at the end, you should be able to make it through.
So you played the GBA version. What did you think of the GBA modernization that they kind of did with adding the special coins, some of the voice acting, new graphics?
So I actually have a lot to say about that. So I think the coins are they add replayability to levels.
Right.
Period.
It's a secondary goal.
Plus, where you can choose the levels too after you beat the game. Yes, after you beat the game, you can choose the levels. You can collect all the coins.
Right.
And then you can get all the Yoshis, which my goal was to beat the game, all the levels. I didn't care about the coins. I grabbed them if I saw them. Didn't care that much. I didn't like the Yoshi thing because one struggle with the GBA game, or I guess Super Mario Bros. 2. I'm going to say it. Finding those mushrooms to get more hearts. I could never find them. I went to the Dark World with the potions. I could never find the mushrooms, ever. And so I was running around with 2 hearts all the time. All the time.
Yeah, I just didn't like the Dark World. I mean, I like the Dark World as a concept, but
Yes.
I don't like what it actually does. Like the fact that it's just this thing that where you're locked in and you farm coins maybe, and maybe if you're really lucky find a mushroom.
Yeah.
But collecting the coins and having to play that casino game at the end of each level is kind of a turnoff for me.
Yeah.
You know, I wish there actually was like a Dark World subworld,
Something happening
subspace,
there. Yeah.
where you can go to, and maybe it's a little bit more challenging, but there's stuff there. Like it's a good concept, but I don't like what they actually does for the game.
Did with it, yeah. And to speak to the modernization too of the GBA port, I guess the other thing is, I was very surprised at the voice acting. I thought it was good for the GBA.
They wanted to show it off for sure.
Yeah,
because it was a very early title, if not a launch title for the GBA.
Yeah, it was the first Super Mario Advance to go out. For some reason, they picked Super Mario Bros. 2, but
it's probably the most in need of a modernization.
Yeah.
Of course, we can't have this discussion without mentioning the fact that it, of course, was a repurposing of another game in Japan. Like it wasn't originally a Mario game.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah.
Doki Doki Panic.
Doki Doki Panic, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the classic story, blah blah blah, Super Mario Bros. 2, the Lost Levels was too hard for North America, so they repurposed this game and brought it over for us here instead. And that had some quirks to it,
Yes, it did. I didn't like the screen. When you go up the screen, there's a lot of climbing in the game. When you go up the screen, the game pauses and it moves the screen up. And the amount of times I died to that was actually it wasn't that frustrating. The game, as I said, I didn't find it too hard myself, but I died too many times to that where it was sort of out of my control. You can't see the enemy on the second screen. You're dead.
Like I said, feels floaty. And then that's not just in the physics of the characters, but it's also kind of in the game level design. Where something like Donkey Kong, where it's very flowy, not floaty, right? The movement just flows beautifully through those stages.
That's true.
Did you enjoy yourself, and if so, how much?
Yeah, I did. I did enjoy the playthrough. It didn't take me long. It's a nice little platformer to revisit. It's been a while since I played it. I played it on the All-Stars pack a few years ago.
Okay.
But this is the first time I played the GBA one in years. So fun to revisit. Doesn't take long. I'd recommend it to people getting into platformers. I would say.
If you're a Mario fan, you have to play it at some point.
Yeah, you had to play through all of them.
Of course.
Right. Going 1, then playing 2, 3, how they were released, fine. But platformer fans, I'd recommend they try it.
Yeah,
fun little game, and check it out. Check out the different versions of it. I think the GBA version is a fuller game. It's a fuller game.
Yeah, like I said, they definitely wanted to show off some of the features of the GBA hardware when that came out. Like I said, I think they wanted to show that the GBA was capable of some voice acting. The one drawback for the GBA is also always the tiny screen resolution.
Yeah.
If it had been the same resolution as a Super Nintendo, they could have did so much more with it. You wouldn't have to scroll, especially vertically, but also horizontally as much. But yeah, it's a good time. The extra content, it does have the original Mario Bros. Arcade.
It's on there. You can play that multiplayer with the GBA link cable.
It's pretty cool. It was probably, like I said, the classic Mario game most in need of some modernization because it wasn't originally a true Mario game. But yeah, you said you enjoyed it. Go ahead. Give me a score out of 10.
Oh, for the GBA version, out of 10, 6, 7.
Okay.
Around
it feels fair.
It's not like it's not your Shovel Knight, it's not your Mario Bros. 3.
No,
it's a good game. It's well put together. You'll have fun with it. It's not one you're gonna keep going back to.
It's not a gem in the crown, but it's it's worth a shot.
It's a good game.
Yeah,
play the game.
It's a good game.
Play Super Mario Bros. 2.
Once you finish the other ones.
Yeah.
I'm right in line. I'm gonna give it a 7.
7?
7.
Yeah,
All
that's
versions.
fair.
They're not
That's
different enough to justify different scores to me. I'd probably play the Super Nintendo version the most, just because I like the bigger resolution of the Super Nintendo, and those sprites just pop so sharply. The GBA color palette's a little bit muted and stuff, so
It is.
play the Super Nintendo version. They're all a 7 out of 10.
The NES version's a 6. All the others are 7.
Fair enough.
All right, tune in for episode 2.
Later.